Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of sections of Herodotus. I'm reading book 1 up to chapter or section 42. And here Croesus has asked Adrastos to go and keep guard over his son when he goes out to kill the wild boar. So Amabatai ho Adrastos. So Adrastos replies, O Basiliu, allos men egoge an uk aia eis a ethlon toiondi. Now, I should perhaps just say that in Herodotus and probably elsewhere, when you've got these passages of direct speech, the Greek is often slightly more difficult and slightly more colloquial than you get in the other passages. And that's probably the case here. So he says, O king, now we get an allos men, and we don't, I think, get a det here. So he says, so allos men, otherwise, in other situations, I would not go. This is one of these verbs of going here. I would not go into such a contest, or on perhaps on such an expedition or contest. And then we get ute and another ute here. For neither. Now the oikos here is for oikos. It's got nothing to do with oikos, a house. You can tell that by the accent. This is oikos. It is reasonable. So for neither is it reasonable or appropriate, perhaps might be better here, for one literally being experienced with such a disaster. In other words, for one who is in my unfortunate situation. So it is not a proper thing to do, he and I, to go in or among those of my own age who are presontas you, who are faring well. So in other words, those who are much luckier. So he says, neither is it reasonable for someone in my situation to go among those of my own age who are more fortunate. Literally those who are faring well. And then we get another ute, nor. Notice the accent on para, which tells us it's short for paresti, and we get an articular infinitive top boulesthai. So neither is the will present. So in other words, neither do I want to. As I mentioned, we get slightly more complicated Greek in this direct speech. So neither is it appropriate, nor is there present the will. So neither do I want to. Polake tan tean iskon em uton. And polake, well, perhaps something like in many occasions, for many reasons almost, I would have, well, perhaps in all such situations, I would have held back em uton for em auton myself. So in every case, I would have held myself back from going. Nunde, but now, epe to suspiudes kai de toi charitzesthai, ophelogase se amebesthai krestoisi, poi eain ami hetoimos tauta. Paida tesson ton diakeliu eai fulasein, epemona tus philasontes heineken prostoka toi aponostesein. So, but now epeta often used for epede in Herodotus. So, since you, spudes, since you are so keen, and since it is necessary to do a favour toi to you, and then in parenthesis here, for I am indebted to repay you with good things, or it may be to repay you for the good things you've done to me, or it could be just to repay you with good things. The wording here is almost identical to what we had in the earlier section when Croesus is telling Adrastos that he should assist here. So, Amy hetoimos, I am ready, I am prepared for poiein tauta, to do these things. And now the main verb in this section here is here. It's prosdokar. It's an imperative from prosdokao. So expect your son aponostesein. This is a future infinitive from aponostio, to return home, apemona. So, sorry, your son whom you have bid me to look after. So expect him to return home apemona, alpha privative from this plus this pema root. This is apemon, unharmed. And then we get this use of henika. Normally means on account of, but it has another secondary meaning here, as far as it lies in the one guarding him. So as far as lies in me, his protector. So I'm prepared to do these things, and your son, whom you bid me to guard, expect him to return home to you unharmed, as far as it lies with me protecting him. That's the end of 42, and it continues on. Toi toisi epeta hutos emepsatokroison aisan metatauta ex ertumenoi logasi te niaisikaikusi. And that man, that's Adrastos, now I get a pater again for payday, when he had replied to Croesus toiu toisi with such words, aisan, there's that verb again, it's he went out, metatauta, after these things, ex atumenoi, this is a perfect passive participle from ex artuo. Artos or artios is to get ready, and so this is a perfect passive participle here, having been provided with. So having been provided with logasi neanisi, so this is bands of young men. I've translated this as bands before, which is okay. It really means chosen bands. The log root here is connected with that lek root of choosing, so it's more than just random groups of men, of young men, but they're chosen groups of young men. Kai kusin, dative plural from kuon, and with dogs. Apikomenoi de es ton olympon to oros etsetion to therion, hurontes de kai peristantes auto kuklo esse contisdon. So, having come into Mount Olympus, et sation, imperfect from satio, they began to hunt or to seek Totherion, the beast, it's diminutive here, Hurontes, and having found it, peristantes, standing around it, kuklo, in a circle, although kuklo in this dative form can just mean another word for around. It's a bit like peri, but I'll just say in a circle here at this stage. In later Greek you get kuklo simply meaning around, but so standing around it in a circle, es akondisdon, so this is from akontisdo, which is connected with that idea of a javelin, so they began to throw javelins at it. So we get es for ace, and then we get akontisdo, and it's been augmented in here. So they began to throw at it javelins. Enth de hoxenos, hutos de hoc kathases ton phonon, Caliomenes de Adrastes, akon tisdon ton hun, tumen hamatane ton kane de krois paidos. And that's the unfortunate thing that happens. And so at that point, the stranger, the foreigner, this is Adrastos, that he, in fact, the one being purified or cleansed of the murder, and being called Adrastos, and again, Herodotos is drawing our attention to the name here. It means one who cannot run away, i.e. from his fate. So he being called Adrastos, akon tisdon, he threw his javelin at the pig. Now we get a two men, and we get ikane de, and we get the two on the other side. So this is a chiastic construction here. We've got this verb here matches with that verb there. We've got the men and the de, and then the genitive on this side, genitive on that side. It's a cleverly constructed sentence here. So throwing his javelin at the pig, on the one hand he missed it, that's the pig, but he hit, this is tunkano, to meet with, but here he hit, and it's taking a genitive, the son of Croesus. So just enjoy that little bit there. It's quite cleverly constructed with this crossover, this chiasmus here. Homin de blethes te aikme ex eple se tu oneru te femen. Ethee de tis angeleon to kroiso togegenos Apikominos de eis tassadis tein te makain kai ton tu paidos moron esemene hoi. But he then, having been struck, this is the aorist passive participle from bellow, having been struck by the spear, exeplese, he fulfilled the pheme. Now pheme, it's connected with pheme, of course. It's the report or the message, perhaps, but that verb is often used of divine messages. So he fulfilled the message of the dream. This again fits in with Herodotus's general view about world events, that they're already fated to happen and you can't escape your fate. And this guy, Adrastos, is a perfect example for Herodotus of this. Even his name, the one who cannot run away from his fate. Anyway, he says then, and a certain man, ethee, this is from theo, to run, so began to run, angeleon, you'll notice here we've got one lambda and uncontracted, this would be angelon in Attic, so it's a future participle. So a certain man began to run with the intention of reporting to Croesus, to gegonos, this is a neuter perfect participle from ginomai, and it is ginomai, not gignomai in this dialect. So a certain one began to run off, it was running off with the intention of reporting to Croesus that which had taken place, and arriving in Sardis, the main verb is here, he related hoi to him, and we get a te and kai, both the battle and the moros, the doom. This is a noun formed from the verb meramai, so the doom of his son. So having arrived in Sardis, he reported from Seimino, he reported to him, or he indicated to him told him about the battle and the doom, the moros, of his son. And that's the end of chapter 40, or section 43.